There's a lot of dates and information around the trust, but can you confirm the final implementation date for primary care for GP practices?
Unfortunately, we can't confirm that date yet because we do need to do some work with the BMA and doing some pilot testing to make sure it's right. So whilst we're hoping to actually be able to launch the full set of standards by April of next year, we'll need to go into full discussion to see what's a reasonable implementation timescale, because it's got to work for everybody.
That's great, thank you. There's just a lot of information out there that people are saying it was the 4th of November, frightening a lot of our GP practices half to death. And I think it's to do with acute and trust community workers as opposed to GP practices, is that correct?
Yeah, so at the moment, community healthcare, so community hospitals should be compliant. Secondary dental, the only people that aren't needing to be compliant at this moment is ambulance trusts, who will have their standards early, and again, we'll put out a compliance date next year. GPs and primary care dental, but it is coming. So I would urge people, if they've been doing work, if they've been looking at it, don't stop. You know, we want to work with people to get that consistent standard across the board.
Okay, that's great. Thanks. Well, if you want a whole raft of them, come and see me. We've got loads together.
Brilliant. No worries.
Along with me, other ambulance trust colleagues are eagerly waiting the ambulance guidance for national cleaning standards. I know that the date for implementation is going to be April 2023, but is there a draft version that we're going to see in the meantime?
So what I'm going to do here is nicely Teflon this off to my colleague, Phil Shelley, who's leading that group.
Hey, Michelle. Yeah, we've got a meeting next week, and hopefully we'll start to have some paperwork together then. So we'd like to share that with the wider ambulance trusts. We met with quite a few at the beginning, but then we wanted to try and have a smaller group to really rattle on with that paperwork. So hopefully, end of next week, the following week, it will get out there. We want to get it out so people can comment on it, and then we can reshape it appropriately.
You touched on upscaling the domestics. Do you have any trusts that have done the work, and what banding that came up? Because with recruitment now on a band 2, it's just impossible. And talking about upscaling, then we have to be matching that in the job description and pay.
So some trusts have done some work. Some of it is around multi-skilling. So under the Agenda for Change profiles, there are some higher level domestic roles and higher level multi-skilled roles. And that's what you need to look to match. It doesn't matter essentially what's in the job description, but you know, there are some trusts that have now created a number of band 3 roles, so you're almost creating a team that is able to do some of that work for you, because you may not be able to upskill everybody, or you might. It depends on the funding, but equally, if you're looking at the skills that they're doing and working with your trusts on, actually, if we're taking stuff away from estates and nursing, we can kind of create some of that funding because it frees up their time and means that they don't necessarily need more band 5 posts, because we need some additional band 3 posts that are upskilled to carry out this work.
Thank you. Question for Emma, please. It's Gemma King, I'm here from ISS. In terms of the training videos, I think it's brilliant to see that we've got different learning methodologies going forward. Will they be available in different languages as well?
So we have been asked about this. We've tried to do things in a way that it's very pictorial to try and get around that currently. We don't have a pot, a bit like Paul, we don't have a pot of funding for this. We were very lucky that all FM providers came together to help support the creation of this. And we are looking to try and fund, you know, some updates every year. So I think that will be something in the future, but I don't see it happening imminently.
Back in May, when the standards were introduced, we asked the question about primary care then and was told to implement it, which we have done. We implemented the new standards into primary care in April 2022. So are they now going to change in 2023?
The ethos of the standards won't change. If you've implemented them, I'm going to say congratulations, and we'd love to have your input to support future things into primary care. What we would say to everybody is, if you're doing it or have done it, well done, congratulations, still working, it is coming. We just have slightly different what we implement through the NHS standard contracts is very different. Primary care have their own slightly different contracts, and it's about how we make that a requirement. So from an NHS England perspective, we would like to see everybody compliant. The standards won't change. It's about the tools that we're working with. So where you've implemented that and you've already done a large piece of work that would allow you to say, okay, we only need FRSA 2, 3, 4, for example, that's brilliant. And we're doing a lot of work, and I would ask you to give your details over to Phil so that we can ensure that great practice and, well done. Thank you very much.